Hi there, I'm Jay McKeet and welcome to Teachers Tech. Hope everyone's having a great night tonight. Tonight we're going to take a look at the new Google Forms in this tutorial here. So if you like what you see, please give it a thumbs up or share some with some other friends of yours. If you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel because I do weekly tech tips here at Teachers Tech. I'm just going to start here for my Google Drive to show you how I would open up my Google Forms. Now there's a couple different ways from this window. I could click on the new and then go to more and click on my Google Forms. And this brings me right away to a purple example of Google Forms. That's something I could start right away, add in questions, change the title. I'm going to show you one more way how to do this. So notice if I close that down, nothing was saved yet in my Google Drive. But I'm going to go over to this, my Google Apps. I tend to use this one a little bit more. I have a shortcut right up here. If you don't have your shortcut, remember you can just go down. If it doesn't show up in here, go to even more from Google and then select it. And then usually what it does is it'll ask you, do you want to add it as a shortcut? Then you say yes. And once you do, you can drag all these around. Just hold and drag if it's something really important. Drag it up to the top, as close as you want to the top, or manage your own apps the way you'd want. So just when you click on this one, where it brings you to is the template section. And I tend to use the template section more, so that's why I go through that way. Templates tend to save you a bit of time, especially in the setup, and they have some really good ones. And I will talk about that in a little bit later here. But I'm just going to start with a blank one right here. And what usually I do when I start from a blank one is I title it right away. So you'll see if I just call this example, and then you can see it's saving. And now when I go back over here, you can see the example one is there. So it's saved, I've named it, and it's there. So right away, what I usually do too is I usually have a color in my mind. This purple isn't kind of what I usually would want to start with, but it's really easy to change that just by clicking this palette up here, and you can see that you have some color options here that automatically changes everything on the screen for the colors. The other thing what I tend to do a little bit more is I use the image one right here, and then you have a choice of different options. There's even some animation ones. So if you're if you're doing something for a birthday party, if you're RSVP, or maybe you have something for an event that you're planning, you can put some nice images just to give it a little bit more of that personalization, and it just looks plain nicer. The other thing you can do is the upload photos or go from your photo albums. So if I go upload photos and I select a photo from my computer, I'll just grab this one here. You need to have them at least 800 pixels in length to fit across the header. You can see you get this rectangle that you can move around and adjust to fit. I'll just kind of drag it and see that's the largest I can make it. I'll put it right across there, and then I'm going to do is select it, and this will become my new header, and it kind of matches a color that kind of flows with this, so you can see kind of this yellowish that it's probably taken out of some of the planets in there. So that's what if a lot of times if I'm creating a assessment, I tend to customize it with my own images. Very easy to do. So next, let's take a look at how to create questions for this. Questions are very easy to add in Google Forms, and it already starts with this one defaulted with multiple choice. I actually don't want a multiple choice right now, and they're very easy to change too, and they're very easy to delete. I could hit the delete button right here, and then it's gone. So if I was going to title this, I could I'll just write solar system. Oops, and I should spell things right. And so now what I'm going to do, I could add a description, which I'm not going to do right now, but I'm going to start adding questions here. And so this is where I could add my questions here. So if I was, first of all, before I started a test, what I would do is I'd want the person's name so I know who's doing this. So what I do is I turn this to a short answer here, and I would type name up here. And then what I would do is I would select required. So when I put this over to required, what happens is that they can't leave that blank. If you don't have that on, they could leave that blank. So the next one I'm going to do, I'm going to create another new question. And this time I'm going to do another short answer. And this time I'm going to write email. And I'm not sure why I'm typing what I'm typing here. Okay, so email. And then what I can do is hit this to required again. And now these first two would be required things before they even start their test, or before they could hit submit, that is. So I'm going to go ahead and now hit another plus here, and I'm going to add a question. And I am going to leave this one as a multiple choice. You can see there's different options right here, but I'll just say, what is the largest planet? Question mark. And then I have a few different options. So I could start filling this out if I would put Earth, click in the other one. So I can just keep on adding more and more. I'll put Mars. I'll click another one. I'll write Jupiter. Click another one. I'll write Pluto. And what I could also do is if I add other, if none of them were here, they could just add the other if they had to write it in itself. So what I want to do now is actually preview my form to see how it's looking here. So all I do to do is preview my form is just go up to the preview button right up here. Now this goes to show me, this shows me what the person completing the form would see. So you can see how the other options are gone, and everything's a little bit cleaner. And then they would start. You can see that required is asterisk here and here, and then what they would do is go through and enter. If I try to hit submit right now, this is what they would get. So what I tend to do though is when I'm kind of making my form, I don't put those as required right away because then I might do some submitting just to see what things are looking like. And I'll show you another way why I don't do that too. So if I just, I'm going to close out of this, and yes, I want to leave this page and go back to where I was working here. If you don't want to get your form too long, what you can do is add a section. So maybe if you wanted to only have a few questions on a page, what you can do is create a next section. So I'm just going to show you to add a new section. You just hit this right here, and you can see there's a new section right here. And let's say if this was all about Earth, this one. So maybe on each one I could go through a different planet and have a different section on it. So I'll show you. I'm just going to hit preview again to show you what that did here. You can see there's a next button now. Now this is why I don't use required when I usually do it right at the end. I turn on my required because I can't go without entering this part. So what I'm going to do is just go back and click on these again and turn off the required here. And another thing is you can drag these questions all around. So for instance, if you wanted the email atop of the name, just grab it. You can see you have your little move handle and you can move it up and drag it around in different places. So any of these questions, I can move it around. So I'll just go back and hit my preview again. And now at this time, you can see the required is gone. The next is still there, and then it goes on to the next page. So those are just some of the things that I do in order, so it just doesn't get those really long pages. Usually I make it a little longer than that. Yeah, so that's what I do there. So I'm just going to close this one down again, leave this page and go back to here and just show you a few of the other options with questions here. So I'm just going to go through and actually I'm going to delete this section for right now, and I'm going to go back to here. And I'm going to create another question down here. Okay, so I'm just going to create a new question. And this time, what I want to show you is the checkboxes. So I could go through the same way. I'm not going to create a question because I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I could create my question, if you had a survey or something, and if there's multiple boxes, you could select those. Again, just adding more. Or you can add the other one, just like in the multiple choice. And another way would be the drop-down method. So again, if I preview this one, I'll just show you. When I preview it, you can see it gets the choose button here, and you have your different options. So that's what the drop-down looks like there. I'm just going to close that one. And as I continue to move down them, there's a linear scale. So if you wanted a rating, so what you can do is keep it through 1 to 5. You can change those, and you can label these too. So if I said 1 being, I'll just say bad, and then number 5 being best, you can see that it could be used as a rating scale on whatever you choose to use it here. So if I keep going down, there is the multiple choice grid. So with a multiple choice grid, what you can do is you can create a number of multiple choices with columns. I'll show you a little example here. So if I have row 1 and I have these columns here, so if I'll just add, I'll add a bunch of different columns here. So I'm going to add 4 columns here, and I'm just going to do a preview here. So I'll just say A, B, C, and D, and I'll leave it like that. And I'm just going to go up to the preview one here again to show you what it looks like here. So you can see I have row 1 and A, B, C, D. So maybe if you had a different question somewhere else or on the board, you could have a list where they're just entering these in too. So I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to add a little bit more. So let's say if I add another row, and then I go back, and then I hit preview again. You can see now I have row 2 with this different one. So it's a different way, and they could fill it when they fill it in. They could be selecting different ones, and they hit submit on these. So remember if it collects all the information, but if you want it marked, you might want to be using things like Flubaroo to automatically mark, but that's a marker for you. But that's in a different thing that I'll explain a little later in a different video. So I'm just going to go back to here and leave this page again. Just close down some of these tabs so I don't get too many open here, and just go back to my questions one here. So I believe what I have left, I have a date and a time. So again, if you were having a special thing on a certain day, you might want to add a date where they select the date or a time that they're available on. And lastly is just the paragraph form here, and this is just versus the short answer, it's made for a longer box if you had a place where they wanted to write a little longer. So these are just some of the questions that you can add into your form, and you can imagine them any possible way. I use them as for a lot of assessments, but if somebody was creating them, if they had a birthday party, if you had an event registration, there's so many options you can use this for. What I want to show you next is how to add some image and some videos in it to help you flip your classroom, and some other examples that you could use. Images and videos are very easy to add, and so I like to use them a lot in my test. And as I mentioned before, I use the videos to flip my classroom. Sometimes I'll just put a video in, and then the students have to be asking questions. They watch the video, and then you can kind of get live feedback to see if they're understanding the questions, if they're paying attention to the video. So I could either do it from creating questions here, or putting the video right inside the form for them to watch. So let's just talk about a few of these options right here. First of all, I just want to talk about adding a title and description. If you ever need another title and description somewhere, maybe above a question, just select it, and you can add a little bit more. If you need another heading, you could give it a question number and just give it a little bit more description. So it's different than a new section. It just gives a little bit more information that you need to add. So if I'm going to put a picture in here, this is for a picture, and I'm just going to select it. And you can see I'd already, before I searched for Earth, and I could have uploaded if I would have found it in a different place. I could do an upload. I could take it a snapshot here. You can see the green screen behind me. You could look for it by URL, check your albums, or your drive. And in this case, I'm just going to do a search here, and I'm just going to type in Earth here. And I'm going to select this one. I'm not going to select this one because I know it was too large when I selected it below. So before, so it does let you know if it's too large. So I'm just going to put this one in. And what you'll see is it gets put in. If you think it's too large, you can resize it. You can grab your corners. You can center or align in different ways. I'm just going to leave this centered. I could put an image title on this. So maybe this is a question here. I'll say question 3. So this might be where you add, if you say, oh, this is where I need my description based on this picture here. So you could add some information above it. So remember, I can drag this all around here too, and then I could add my question underneath it. So maybe I have a so you notice I put it in the wrong place, so I could have it above it. So maybe I say with the picture below, or maybe I want to drag it this way. Oops, I'm just going to drag this up here like this. And then you can see I have my title and description here. So maybe I write something extra here, and then my questions are here. So maybe my question is, what planet is this? And then I can start entering in my options. Is it Earth? Oops. Or Mars? And so on and so on and so on. So I could keep adding more and more choices. I'm going to give this a quick preview here to see what it looks like. And you can see here it is, and the question 3 on top of it. So again, when you put in that extra section, it does come up kind of bolded or so that you really get targeted. So it would be good for different sections if you didn't want it going to a new page to use that too. So I'm just going to move out of this right here. And the next thing I want to show you is a video here. So the video symbol right here, and I'm going to just go down and I'll add a video in here. And this is where I like, as I mentioned before, you could put a video in to test to see if the students are getting what the video is saying. You could create a little few questions to get feedback, and you can get it. The feedback comes back instantly when people start filling out the form. So it could be kind of a easy little formative assessment you could do to see if they're understanding the film. So in this case, I could do a video search in here, or you could take, I just have one open already. I'm just going to copy in this one, and I could just do it by URL and paste it here and hit select. And then the video goes in. And again, you can resize the video too. And I could add the questions just like I did before underneath it. So I could add another set of questions. So maybe this time I could have a paragraph answer here, and then I could ask the question, and they'd have to fill something out longer. So what I'm going to do is hit preview again. You can see how the pages get longer and longer, and this is where you might be thinking about a new section here. And the video will play right inside of here, and they could answer the questions and hit submit. A note I want to make about when you're using images is under the settings, what some people will do, you can shuffle the questions order, so it could always appear differently for different students. They might, if they're sitting next to each other, they might not see the same question at the same time. The only problem is if you use images or videos in it and they're connected to a question, that poses a problem that sometimes things get messed up and put in the wrong order. So if you're using the images or videos, you might not want to have the shuffle question order here. So those are just some of the neat little features about adding the videos and images inside your Google Forms. So let's take a look at the settings now here. Let's go up to the gear up here, and I've already talked about a few of these things, so we can look at the first who you want to respond here. So you can see in my example, I'm using a school here to show it. It could be anyone at that school or anyone at all. So if it depends on if you want to work within your domain or not. This is also a handy one. If you only want them to submit it once, you can click on it there. I've already talked about at the bottom about the shuffling the question. The progress bar will show how far along. So if you have a big assessment or different ones, it's always nice to show the person how far they are along, because I know sometimes if I'm filling out something, if I start to think it's too long, I might just click off it too. So see the summary responses, edit this response, and submit another response. So those are just the settings. Very simple, not too many there. And the other part is right through here. So you can make a copy of this form here, move it to trash. You can get things pre-filled links in the print, the add collaborators here, so you can share if you need to be working with somebody else. You can just click on it, enter the names, and then you can share with them to give them what type of access you think they would need. I'll just hit done on that. And going back here, the script editor, the add-ons. So with the add-ons, just like the old forms, you can go through if there's any add-ons that you've used before, you can click and add them on here too. So again, this is just at the end, just your help center or report a problem, or the take a tour button that was there when we first popped up. So those are just some of the settings that I was talking about earlier. In each question too, you notice that there was a couple other things that we could add. There was a hint text to help the person out, or a valid validation on it too. So let's go through now and actually do a few responses and see what it looks like in real time. I'm just going to put a few responses in here to show you how quickly you can start to collect data from this. First of all, though, I'm just going to delete. I'm not going to use email on this example here, so I'm just going to delete it, and I will turn on required for my name here. So I'm just going to go ahead and then preview it here one last time. And then you can see, so if I was putting my name in, and then I was going to select what is largest planet, I'll go here, and here, and I learned, oops, I should spell something here. I don't know what I'm typing. Okay, I learned a lot. Okay, I'll submit it. And then you can see it's been recorded. And if I go back right away, I get my responses here. So right away, you can see it's showing me because I haven't used this account before, but I have a summary here of just the one. So as more people would come in, the pie graphs would change here, showing more and more. What I like is the individual responses too. So since I have the name required, it shows me who did this one too. So I could have the email and the name required, and the more that came in, I could just shuffle through by clicking the arrow. So if you had a class, as I said before, as maybe you assigned some homework to watch a video, a short little video, and you just want to see if they were doing it. So you put the video inside a form, and then they were doing it. You could see right away who was doing it. You could see how they were doing it, and they'd be ready for the outcome the next day at class. So I really like this quick response right here. And then you can turn this into the spreadsheet. You can create the spreadsheet right here. So if I click on this one, I can create a new spreadsheet, or selecting existing spreadsheet. So it gets put in through there. Or you can see a few other options. You can get email notifications for new responses. I don't have that turned on, depending or not. Like if you wanted to send it home, you get email when a certain student would respond, so you can see it through their name or their email too. You could select the response destination or download the CSV or comma separated values, or you could delete all your responses also. So this is the part that I really like, is how quickly you can just, especially for formative feedback, just to see if you have students, giving them a quick little assessment to see how they're getting things, and you can see where the difficulties are. And as I mentioned before, you can have programs that do mark this, and you can put this right inside your Google Classroom now too. So you could link this inside, and the students would get this form right inside their Google Classroom too. The last thing I want to just show you is how to get back to your main part here. Is just if you ever click the back arrow right here, it will get back to your templates here, and you can see this is the one that we were just creating, called example here. And don't forget to use your templates, because the templates, as I said, are really handy things. So if I, for example, clicked on the assessment template here, you can see the stuff that I was doing before. A lot of it's already set up so that you can see how it has the name or the email, and it has a few options here just to get you started here. So definitely I would say take a look at your templates, start from there, and it will save you a little bit of time. I hope you liked this little tutorial I gave tonight on Google Forms. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with other people if you think it could help them. And if you are interested in these weekly tech tips, please subscribe for my channel, because I put out a new one every week. I'll talk to you next week.